What is good, YouTube? It is your boy Anime Devil Hunter, and man, what a chapter. One Piece 1003 was crazy. It amazes me how Oda just keeps making this arc better and better. I truly believe Oda is trying to cement Wano as the best arc in the entire series. Although I still won't put it over Enies Lobby or Marineford, Wano is awesome. I have my problems with it, but it's undeniably awesome. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Here on this channel we cover all sorts of One Piece content, weekly reviews, character explain videos, ability explain videos, and more. So definitely subscribe if you want all that coming straight to your feed. Drop a like if you end up enjoying the video, comment your favorite part of the chapter as well as possible speculations or theories you have regarding this chapter. With that being said, let's begin. Before we get into the actual chapter, I want to talk about the cover spread we got. I love how it's mixed with all kinds of characters in the series, and I also find it unique that the cover has no specific theme. It's just a bunch of characters we come across throughout the series, and I'll absolutely love it. So the unofficial name of this chapter is Two Peas in a Pod. We start the chapter off with Zoro and Sanji standing shoulder to shoulder in front of a mist of flames. We have the allies on the right cheering on Zoro, saying Zoro is back in action, and we have the allies on the left yelling, "Go get him, Sangoro-san." So our two wings have their fans, and I feel like this is Oda's way of including Sanji and Zoro stance in the chapter. I mean, doesn't it seem like that? We switch to Chopper, who's kinda shocked that the cure heals Zoro, but at the same time Miyagi's worried about what's going to happen to him after he's done fighting. Oda keeps bringing up the aftermath of the cure, so to be honest, I'm thinking Wano is going to end with a bang. I mean, that's what we're all hoping for. An ending no one could have possibly predicted or thought of. That's what I'm honestly hoping for, but we'll just have to wait and see. The Beast Pirates scream King and Queen, so after taking those two awesome attacks from Zoro and Sangoro, they're obviously worried about their superiors, but of course that isn't going to be enough to take them out, as we see they're still conscious and in good condition. In the next panel we see one of the Beast Pirates attempt to snipe Zoro as he says, "How dare you attack the All-Stars?" But before he can get a chance to pull the trigger, Kawamatsu catches him and says, "Drop it," as he cuts him and takes him out. Nice, Mr. Kappa. Hyogoro compliments Kawamatsu for taking him out and then tells all the other allies to make sure no one interferes with their duels. One of Hyogoro's men says, "But boss, they're up against the All-Stars." Hyogoro immediately cuts him off and says, "It doesn't matter if you're friend or foe. There's no place for meddling in that fight. Just look at the expression on their faces. We will only get in their way," which I totally agree with him. And come on, let's be real. We want a one-on-one fight. And shout out to Hyogoro, he knows what a real duel is. In the middle of this, Marco looks at King and we get a flashback of some interesting dialogue between Whitebeard and Marco. During the flashback, Marco says, "I thought only Marijua was above the red line, Yoi." Whitebeard then says, "I'm talking about the distant past. Back then, God's land was up there." Marco then says, "When did you start believing in such crap, Pops?" And Whitebeard laughs. So Oda is seriously dropping some endgame stuff on our heads. He's doing this like every chapter, and bro, I can't wait for things to come full circle. Everything is connected, so I can't wait to see how everything adds up. During the flashback, Marco ends up spacing out a little bit too much and he gets hit. And he's sent flying, but luckily Izo catches him. Izo says to him, "Wake up, Marco, what's up with you? How can you space out on a battlefield?" Marco smiles and says, "Hee. Well, I know you'd have my back." And Izo's like, "Oh, shut up." To be fair, Marco has been going crazy during this war. Fighting both King and Queen isn't no regular feat. He's tired. He needs the rest. While Izo grabs Marco and runs, Marco asks Izo if he believes in God, and Izo gets mad and says, "You're starting to sound like Pops did when he was drunk." Hey, they say drunk men always speak facts, at least for the most part. In the next panel, we switch back to the duel going on with King and Queen. Queen says, "Yo, if you want to take us down, you're gonna have to put your back into it." That didn't even hurt a bit. The drought, the plague, and the wildfire. The three of us are Kaido-san's calamities. Our unstoppable toughness is why they call us All-Stars, as he fires a coffee bean that both Zoro and Sanji dodge. Zoro looks at Sanji and asks him what's wrong. Sanji replies and says nothing. "It's just since my second time using the race suit, I've been feeling kinda off." Zoro then said, "You're not gonna slow me down, are you?" To which Sanji replies with, "I said there's nothing, my body just feels a little odd." And Zoro says, "Well, you do have weird eyebrows." To which Sanji gets mad and says, "My body, not my face, doofus." So we got a nice little back and forth between the two. I'm fine with this as long as they're not fighting each other like they were in the middle of the battle during Long Ring Long Land. I'm fine with it, but if they were to do that, I honestly love it, considering it was hilarious. But you know, this is a serious battle. We don't got time for that. So back to the chapter. Right in the middle of their back and forth, King pulls out a blade and gets ready to hit Sanji, but Zoro intercepts the attack and tells Sanji, "You owe me." Now, I really like the art in that panel. The clash between Zoro and King was dope. In the next panel, Queen gets ready to fire a brittle claw at a distracted Zoro, and he almost hits him, but Sanji comes in clutch and stops the attack, and now he says, "We're even." Yo, the fight against the All-Stars might possibly turn out to be the best fight of Wano. We're getting Zoro and Sanji in a high A-tier fight. Their dialogue is funny and the info is crazy, especially King, but also Zoro as well, which we'll get into in a bit. After Sanji blocks Queen's attack, Queen says, "Mwahaha, I remember not all the judges' brats are in hands. That bat is crazy. That burning leg of yours is some kind of augmentation, right?" Sanji then says, I hate to break it to you, but I'm a regular human like my siblings. And Queen says, are you stupid? What kind of human can burst into flames? It's not like you're a Lunarian. A quick shout out to my buddy Pirate Hunter, he actually pointed this out. And shit, Oda even highlighted it in bold Lunarian. So Lunarian is someone who lives on the moon. King is a creature that has shown the ability to bring out flames. Is it possible King is a Lunarian? Shout out to Pirate Hunter Anime again. I'll link his channel, goes up to him. He's awesome. He brought up the idea. He might even have a video with a theory on it later on, possibly next week. I don't know, but I definitely can guarantee you he will. But yeah, I think it's possible for King's race to originate from the moon and migrate to the red line after certain events that transpired, which we don't know of yet. I'm hoping. And with that being said, I feel like we might get an arc on the moon or something that, like, there has to be an adventure on the moon. Like, Oda just keeps teasing us with moon hype. I mean, even the cover panels with Enel, the cover stories with Enel on the moon and stuff, like, we gotta go find out what's going on there. Back to the chapter, the next panel, we see King look towards Sanji. And Sanji says, it's possible because my passion burns hotter than any real flame ever. He then does a spinning flame attack as he says, cooking up sea beasts is my specialty, you dino bastard. Queen then laughs and gets ready to attack as he says, I'll show you how devastating my cybernetic can be. They're so advanced even Vegapunk can't match them. Sanji's stands must be going crazy right now. And I know King is much more interesting than Queen, but also, let's remember, Queen and Vegapunk are linked. So we might be able to learn more about Vegapunk through Queen. Because I mean, Vegapunk is one of the biggest mysteries about One Piece itself. We still barely know anything about him, so yeah, I look forward to learning about Vegapunk through Queen. Hopefully we do, during the Sanji and Queen fight. In the next panel, we jump back to Zoro and King. Zoro says to King, don't get distracted, you black mummy. As he and King clash with their blades. In the middle of their clash, Zoro looks at the blade closely and says, that blade. I wonder what drew Zoro's attention to the blade. Was it because it was a black blade? Or was it because, like, he recognized a sword from somewhere? Because there isn't any other reason for, like, Zoro to, like, recognize the blade or something. Or probably must have been, like, one of them rare swords. Him and Tashigi, they both sword nerds. Bro, the amount of mysteries in this chapter. As Zoro spaces out over the sword, he gets distracted, of course, and King ends up punching him in the face, and the panel looks so damn raw. From the looks of it, it looks like King ended up punching him so hard his blades flew out of his hand. Yo, King he packaged something, man. He packaged something. In the next panel, Zoro says, I get it. You're just a bloodthirsty brute. King says, I never understood why anyone would stick to traditional forms and techniques in a real battle. Zoro lands on the ground and says to King, yeah, I guess you have a point. You never claimed to be a swordsman after all. Then as have it your way, just remember when it comes down to it, I might be willing to bite through your throat too. I can't afford to lose here. As we see Zoro with all three of his swords quartered in haki. I just want to point out, ZKK might be true. Zoro kills King, cause Emma is no joke. King might really die. Zoro might kill the last devil. I mean, he really said, I'll bite through your throat. Oda's always dropping hints. This might be one of them, In the next panel, we turn to Kawamatsu and Hyogoro, who are watching the battle from a distance. Kawamatsu says, Boss Hyogoro, when Hiyori-sama offered that man Emma, there was a reason I didn't protest too hard. Hyogoro says, right, I see it too. It's peculiar. He may be a foreign pirate, but he reminds me so much of the former Daimyo of Ringo when he was young. He and Shimotsuki Ushimaru are like two peas in a pod. And this is the part of the chapter that had me so damn hyped, because for the longest as a fandom we have been hoping to find out more about Zoro's lineage, considering we only know he grew up in a dojo and that his teacher has some kind of lineage to Wano, as well as the Shimotsuki clan. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. So I was really hyped, and on top of that, he low-key looks like Zoro. Like, let's keep it real. All they had to do was color it in, and there we go. They had to be related some way though. There is this awesome theory I like. Someone said Zoro was born in Wano right after things started going bad with Orochi and Kaido. Shimotsuki clan took notice and took a group of kids and sent them out to sea, which will make sense considering Zoro's age and all that went down in Wano, as well as his teacher's connection to Wano, as well as the Shimotsuki clan. We know things are going to come full circle, it's just a matter of when and how. Moving on, Kawamatsu then asks what Hyogoro said about Zoro and Ushimaru. He says, right down to their swords handling, it's uncanny. Ushimaru-sama was a fantastic swordsman, a direct descendant of the god of the blade, Shimotsuki Ryuma. So this is like when I'm like, oh shit, Oda, what we doing here? Because this chapter is already good. Oh my goodness, he just keeps dropping gems. Kawamatsu then says, and this young man was the one to finally return Shisui to Wano. It must be fate or something. After all, Ryuma was a one-eyed samurai. As we see Zoro clash with King and a pen of Ryuma on the left. Bro, I know there got to be Zoro stands out there so happy they almost cry reading this chapter. Bro, the info was crazy. And the heat, bro, it's too much heat. Bro, Zoro fans have been eating this whole entire arc, and if we're being real, you guys rightfully deserve it. Let's keep it a buck. Like, we went a whole arc without Zoro. Like, come on now. Like, that was like, what, a good 2 years without Zoro? Like, come on now. You guys definitely deserve to eat. In the next panel, we switch to the second floor, Treasure Repository, the location where Jack and Inarashi's fight is taking place. We see men screaming, "You gotta back up Jackson," and the other man saying, "We're not gonna let that happen." So just reading this, you could just tell Jack is getting his ass beat. You don't need an interpreter or even to see what's going on. Like, that says it all. In the next panel, we see Jack in his Zoan form getting ready to swing at Inarashi as he says, "You must be getting tired. I'll put you to sleep forever, Duke of the Day. There's no need to draw this out. I've already forgiven you for lying to me about the samurai. The country's already paid that price for sheltering him." And then Rashi then says some real shit. "We wouldn't have been able to live with ourselves if we sold out Rizzo." So shout out to Dogstorm and Cat Viper, one of the last real ones we have left. Like, I'm telling you, they took all that torture just to ensure Rizzo's safety. Man, that Rizzo is safe hits different, bro. Going back looking at that Rizzo is safe hits different. In the next panel, Inarashi says it would have made it impossible for us to come back to Wano as he grabs Jack's trunk and he adds, "Everything we went through since that day Oden Sama left us was to get to this point," as he launches Jack through the floor, sending him flying. And that was so damn raw. Like, there's nothing more I could ask Oda for. Like, look at the chapter he's giving us, and we're not even done yet. It's crazy. We then see the flashback of Inarashi getting tortured, refusing to sell out his mans. Yo, if Inarashi were to get 100 years, and bro, Inarashi go to court today, they say you got 100 years. I know he's staying solid till the end, bro. Inarashi too real. In the next panel, he says to Jack, "Since that day, 20 years ago, we tormented ourselves with the same questions. Are things different now? Do we still have the right to claim to be Oden Samurai?" Inarashi starting to transform, and Jack is like, how are you in so long? And he notices a hole in the roof, and through that hole he sees the full moon. Inarashi then thinks about Ashura and he gets mad. But that's his boy too. He says to Jack, "We endured a lot to reach this decisive battle. Our millennia-old city was razed to the ground, but the dawn of the world is finally upon us. We don't care if we have to lay our lives to usher in it," as we see a badass panel of Inarashi and Sulong. There are people who don't really care about this fight, but I'm really interested in this fight, considering Jack needs to get his ass beat. What he did to Minx was so fucked up, and he could have the saddest story throughout all of One Piece. I still won't rock with him. In the next panel, we then jump to the Skull Dome front entrance, the location of Perospero and Nekomamushi. Kara says Perospero. Nekomamushi says without Pedro, Luffy, and others would have never made it here. The raid would have failed for sure. Kara and Wano then scream Master Nekomamushi. Nekomamushi then says the full moon is beautiful tonight, Pedro. Just pour yourself a drink and watch. And boys over for Perospero. That's all I gotta say. Perospero says your Sulong form. We then see Nekomamushi in his Sulong form saying to Perospero, "This is the last moon Yugara will ever see, Big Tongue." So Perospero was about to get his ass beat. There's no way I even expect him to like even put up a fight. He's already handicapped, and Cat Viper is in his Sulong form. In all honesty, you could say I'm underestimating Perospero, but like even without Sulong, I feel like Nekomamushi will still whoop his ass. Like, get Perospero the other arm that he's missing and put him to Cat Viper tearing him up. You already know. Now there's something I would like to address regarding Perospero and Neko. So yes, Pedro did blow himself up, but Pedro is Nekomamushi's mans. Like, that's his boy. Pedro's like a little brother to him. There's no way that could have happened to someone you're that close to, or someone's like a little brother to you and you not feel a type of way. So I'm all the way with Neko on this one. I'm rooting for him. We then jump to the inside the castle second floor, the location of Fukuro Kujo and Raizo's battle. Fukuro Kujo says to Raizo, "Haha, you ghosts are a joke. Oden is dead, now you serve a glorified child." And Raizo says, "Huh? How dare you mock the young master?" And from the looks of it, these two are going at it. Fukuro Kujo got the shurikens in his hand, ready to let it fly. Raizo getting ready to do some jutsu. It's getting real. Fukuro Kujo says, "Everyone needs time to mature, even us misfits eventually become samurai." Raizo aggressively says, "Wano itself will shape Momonosuke-sama growth. We won't let you take that hope away." So this is not a huge fight I'm looking forward to be honest. I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking, you know, but at the same time, I want to go in open-minded because Oda can do the unthinkable like what he did with Who's Who. There was no way in hell I expected to get that reveal when it came to Who's Who. Like, that completely blew me away. Still easily one of the best fights in Wano. That's probably like the best Flying Six fight. Like, that fight was actually good. The rest of them was mad to me, to be honest. I'm keeping it a buck. So in the next panel, we then turn to Udon to Kage Port, the location of Luffy and Momo. Law's crew is going crazy. Like, they're panicking. They got their blades, guns and stuff. They're just yelling and shit. Like, they're just wilding. They're like, "Why is he here? Why is Kaido here? Do we even stand a chance? Straw Hat, get back is dangerous." In the last panel, we get a beautiful spread of Luffy standing in front of a huge dragon, and this of course is Momo. Absolutely looks awesome. Thank you so much, Oda. Man, this chapter is 16 out of 10, bro. As Luffy looks at Momo, he remembers the first time they met. I'm not too sure if that's the first. I'm hoping I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. With Momo telling him, "I'm not your snack. If you attempt to eat me, I'll devour your whole. Brace yourself." Luffy smiles and says to Momo, to which Momo says, "That's right." Law's crew then says, what? The kid that was just here, how in the world? At the same time, Shinobu is crying like crazy. She then reveals to Law's crew that she followed Momo's order and she aged him till he was 28 years old. And Luffy's like, I didn't know you could do that. Why are you crying though? And we find out it's because Momo resembles Oden so much. And I really hope Oda shows us how he looks in his human form. But then again, he might save that for Two Piece. You know, Momo's life as a shogun. That'll be a fire journey. Nah, I don't want to do that to us. In the final panel, Luffy says, Momo, let's go take back Wano. Momo says, yeah. That's how we end the chapter, bro. What a chapter. In all honesty, this might be one of my favorite chapters in all of Wano. There was so much heat in this chapter, and it's so hard to choose a favorite part. Like, it feels like we got 2.5 chapters jammed into one. Like, but I feel like because, like, you know, Wano's been going on for such a while, Oda wants to, you know, take us to, like, towards the conclusion. Even though, like, we're getting there, but at the same time, you know, we just can't, you know, take each week one fight by one. You know, we gotta move a little bit fast. So yeah, that's how we end the chapter. This was an amazing chapter. It's honestly hard to choose a favorite part, but I honestly might have to say the duel between Zoro and King, as well as Sanji and Queen. So the live forward got some, you know, they had to be my favorite part of the chapter. But like, man, what a chapter. I believe we have no break next week, but Oda just definitely deserve a break, man. Like, what did he just, like, bro, he just gave us not only heat in 1022 but 1023 as well. Like, Oda, man, you crazy, man. Weekly experience with no spoilers definitely hits different. I think next chapter we might shift the focus to Killer and Hawkins, or Kid and Law versus Big Mom. We need to get those battles started. I mean, Killer and Hawkins already started, but Law and Kid have, you know, they haven't started yet. And I'm really hoping that fight turns out well, but we'll just have to see. As for Luffy and Kaido, I want to cover something real quick. I feel like Oda is going to start round 3 of Luffy versus Kaido toward the end of the All-Stars fight. I think that should be a battle we see consistently. Like, I don't think we should, you know, jump and hop around to different fights. I think that's like a battle we should just get consecutively, like the Luffy versus Katakuri fight, like one, like a chapter after another, like whole chapters dedicated just to that battle. I could see it starting like Luffy arrives at the roof and him and Kaido are talking, and Kaido says like some, you know, some shit like, oh, he'll lose again. Luffy says, I'm winning this time. He jumps towards Kaido and then they clash, and then we possibly end off with a cliffhanger, and then we, you know, we start to wrap up the other fights, and then after everyone's battle we just get that last fight, and we just get that last fight till it's over. But yeah, that is what I think. There are people saying we might see the Straws help Luffy. I doubt it. I believe the Straws are confident enough in Luffy to take down Kaido one-on-one. I doubt Yamato is going to help him out, because by the time Luffy gets up there, she's going to be done. There's no way she's going to have the strength to help him out. She might be able to do like one little attack, you know, to help Luffy, you know, get ready for the finisher. But like, besides that, I don't think she's going to be able to do anything else. At that stage, Kaido should be at a reasonable HP level that Luffy can take him down one-on-one without, you know, us calling it BS or saying Luffy should not be able to beat Kaido. And then honestly, I love the route that Oda is going, because he could have honestly made Luffy win a round 2, even though I felt like that would have been some complete bullshit. And I guess Oda agrees, considering he had him lose again. Now, there are a lot of people speculating something else, that Luffy will unlock Gear 5th. First off, it's a transformation he makes. This ain't the Mangekyo Sharingan or Super Saiyan. He has to come up with a Gear 5th. He just can't unlock it. And I doubt we are getting that, because I feel like it's a bit early. And on top of that, if he had it, it would have made sense for him to use it already. He's going up against a Yoko. What reason does Luffy have to hold back? Now, I do think it's maybe a possibility that we'll see a new variation of Gear 4th. Probably like the ultimate, like, offensive version of Gear 4th. Like, that one barely has any defense. I think that makes sense, because like Bombman's is more on the balance side, Snake Man is more on the speed side, Tank Man, I don't know, it's a possibility we can see the actual version of Tank Man, considering we only saw the situational form during Whole Cake. But yeah, I definitely could see Luffy coming up with a, not coming up, but using a new gear that he possibly made when he was training and stuff. I think that could possibly happen. As for the other parts of the chapter, I hope we dive more into Zoro's lineage, but at the same time, Hyogoro and Kawamatsu don't really know much about Zoro. They don't really know him, and I highly doubt Zoro knows much about his lineage as well. As far as I'm concerned, all he knows, he's from a dojo, and that's pretty much all. It'd be cool if we found out Ushimaru had like a son, and the son was probably sent out to see what the other kids, like the 3 I just listed earlier, and the dojo sensei, you know, it all connect, it all makes sense. That'd be dope. But I know it's gonna come full circle. It's just a matter of when, because you know it's obviously gonna be this arc. But anyways, this is probably the longest One Piece review I've ever made. Anyways, comment down below your favorite part of the chapter, whether or not I missed anything, or what are you looking forward to next. Hit the subscribe button for more One Piece content. I hope you enjoyed the video. It is your boy Anime Devil Hunter. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. You have an awesome day. Peace.